The UK government announces new controversial small boats bill banning migrants from entering the UK and claiming British citizenship if they cross the channel illegally.
Glory to Ukraine. The last words of an unarmed captured Ukrainian soldier shot in cold blood in a recently surfaced video.
The Greek authorities were repeatedly warned over the safety of its railway network. That's according to the head of the EU's railway agency.
The Spanish government has proposed a law to mandate a 40% gender quota in elected government bodies and on the boards of large companies.
The UK has launched a tough legal crackdown on migrants arriving on its southern coast in small boats. Under a proposed new law, with the exception of children and the medically unfit, those arriving by such craft will be detained for up to 28 days and then deported. The minister responsible says it will deter people smugglers.
They could and should. In the coming years, developed countries will face unprecedented levels with pressures from ever greater numbers of people leaving the developing world for places like the United Kingdom. Unless we act today, the problem will be worse tomorrow, and the problem is already unsustainable.
But critics, including the opposition and NGOs, say the plan is unethical and that the government is taking the wrong approach.
If the government wants to actually try and fix these issues, what it needs to do is it needs to focus on creating safe humanitarian routes for people to get to the UK, and it needs to focus on clearing the existing asylum backlog. And it can start by processing claims from people who are from countries where it is a near certainty that they will be given refugee status in the UK.
The government has acknowledged the legislation possibly breaches UK human rights laws and is bracing for legal challenges. But the opening of a new small boats command centre by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak underlines the government's determination to push ahead with the scheme.
Slava Ukrainia. These were the last words of an unarmed Ukrainian soldier shot in cold blood after being captured by Russian troops. According to Ukraine's foreign minister, it's further proof that this war is one of genocide.
Сьогодні з'явилося відео, як окупанти по-звірячому вбили воїна, який хоробро сказав їм у вічі «Слава Україні!». Хочу, щоб ми всі разом у єдності відповіли на його слова «Герою слава! Героям слава! Україні слава!». І ми знайдемо вбивців.
The soldier went missing near Bakhmut on February the 3rd. The images of his execution contrast with a recent prisoner of war swap between the two combatants. 90 Russian POWs and 130 Ukrainian soldiers will be returned, but given the ongoing hostilities, it may not be long until they are back on the front lines once more.
Ukrainian authorities indicated that Ukraine will continue to defend Bakhmut for now, and the order has been issued to send reinforcements to this area. The Institute for the Study of War says Bakhmut is not intrinsically significant operationally or strategically. Taking the city is necessary but not sufficient for further Russian advances in Donetsk region, and Russian forces have already taken such heavy losses fighting for the city that their attack will very likely culminate after they have secured it, if not before. Now, the loss of Bakhmut is not therefore of major operational or strategic concern to Ukraine. But Ukraine's fight for Bakhmut has become strategically significant because of the current composition of Russian forces arrayed in the area. The opportunity to damage the Wagner Group elite elements along with other elite units if they are committed in a defensive urban warfare setting where the attrition gradient strongly favors Ukraine is an attractive one, the Institute for the Study of War says. Now, some Western reports have recently suggested that Ukraine is expanding its own elite manpower and scarce equipment on mainly Wagner Group prison recruits who are mere cannon fodder. The Institute for the Study of War says that observation is is valid in general, although the pool of Russian convict recruits suitable for combat is not limitless, and the permanent elimination of tens of thousands of them in Bakhmut means that they will not be available for more important fights. Now, the UK Defence Ministry assesses that Russian military command is failing to properly equip its forces despite close combat engagements in Ukraine. According to its recent intelligence update, Russian military command is ordering mobilized reservists to assault Ukrainian concrete positions with only firearms and shovels. The Battle of Bakhmut may in fact severely degrade the Wagner Group's best forces, depriving Russia of some of its most effective and most difficult to replace shock troops.
Despite the warnings, the Greek authorities did not react in time to secure the railway system. Following the accident that killed 57 people, the executive director of the European Union Railway Agency explained that they have sounded the alarm many times over the past years, and even the latest report in 2022 revealed a gloomy picture.
During the last years, we have always seen that Greece has ranked amongst the bad pupils, so with a rather low performance in terms of safety. Safety measured in the number of fatal accidents in comparison to the length of the network and the number of passenger kilometers. We have also found an issue with the national investigation body because we have never received any report of an investigation.
The EU Commission has spent €700 million on the modernization of the railway system in Greece since 2014 and has planned to dispose of another €130 million in the context of the Recovery and Resilience Fund. At the same time, Greece was supposed to have in place the European train control system since 2020 at the part of the network where the accident occurred. But this never happened.
Well, it is certainly problematic that the money has not been spent as planned, and it is also problematic that the commissioning of the European rail traffic management system has been postponed now to 2023.
The Greek government has launched an investigation while the 59-year-old station master of Larissa was arrested several hours after the accident and charged with negligent homicide. However, could this human error have been avoided if the automatic system was put in place as initially planned?
We do not know what the real root cause of the accident has been, but such systems are there to reduce the risk of human error. And such systems dramatically reduce the risk of human error. So if the system is in place, the possibility for human error would have been drastically reduced.
Josef Doppelbauer, along with other EU Commission experts, will visit Greece tomorrow in order to give Greece further support to modernize its railways and improve their safety.
It's impossible to extinguish the flames of discontent of Belgian firefighters who protested on Tuesday at the headquarters of the European Commission in Brussels. The firefighters are demanding salary, budget and personnel increases. Coming from all over the country, they first demonstrated near the Belgian Parliament and the seat of government. Later, they decided to take their protest to the heart of European institutions. The police used tear gas to drive them back.
In France, hundreds of thousands protest for a sixth time against raising the retirement age from 62 to 64. Unions promised to bring France to a standstill, blocking key industries and services. They estimated 50,000 were on the streets in Lyon, many motivated by the pension reform, but also by their working conditions.
Alors, moi, je suis égoutier pour la ville de Lyon, en France. Aujourd'hui, on manifeste par solidarité avec les copains, mais aussi pour dénoncer les conditions de travail dans lesquelles nous exerçons notre métier, à savoir un métier dangereux, pénible et insalubre.
Je voulais juste dire que la réforme ne sert à rien, parce que vu le climat, mon fils qui a 50 ans, il n'arrivera pas à mes 80 ans. Donc la réforme est inutile.
Il faut savoir que les pompiers en France ont une espérance de vie inférieure de 7 ans à la moyenne de la population. Donc plus on part tard à la retraite, et plus on meurt tôt, et moins on profite de notre retraite en bonne santé.
Polls have consistently shown a large majority of the public are against the reform. It's led to all of the main unions uniting in opposition to it, despite government hopes that more moderate ones could be convinced otherwise.
On a réussi à être unis, tout le front syndical. C'est une fierté pour nous. Ça fait des années que ce n'était pas arrivé. Et donc, nous sommes déterminés à aller jusqu'au retrait de ce projet de réforme.
The reform is still being debated in France's Senate, and the government could still push it through without a formal parliamentary vote. The Spanish government has proposed a law to mandate gender quotas in elected government bodies and on the boards of large companies. Under Socialist Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, Spain has enacted a raft of laws which focus on sexual minorities and women, including a recent measure to allow easier gender transitioning.
Las sociedades cotizadas deberán asegurar que sus consejos de administración al menos tienen un 40% de consejeros del sexo menos representado antes del 1 de julio de 2024. En los puestos de alta dirección deberán velar y ajustar los procesos de selección para que se alcance también este objetivo.
In 2017, the Spanish parliament became the most female parliament in Europe, with 47% of the House made up of women, although the percentage has fallen recently to 42%. Entities included in the proposal could be liable for penalties if they refuse to follow it.